Hello and welcome, Star People. It is 8 p.m., your intrepid star guide and cosmic detective, and this is another episode of the Outlaw Astrology Podcast. And today's topic is a deep dive into the minor arcana, the decans, and the living zodiac. Now, last episode we talked about the major arcana, and with reference into the elements, the planets, and the signs. And this week we're going to step more deeply into the minor arcana. But before we do that, a little housekeeping. We have a newsletter, free and paid. More info on that, you can go to the link in the show notes. If you like our Astro Flow, you can support the podcast via our tip jar, link also in show notes, and we'd be ever so appreciative if you would give us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, but on particular Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, so that other people can find us as well. And with all that said, thank you very much, and onward! Alright, so let's step right into it. We're going to talk about the decans, and that is the zodiac's hidden detail. So, once again, decans are, each of the 12 signs is divided into 3 10-degree sections, creating 36 decans total. Now, each decan is ruled by a different planet and we're talking about astrology only according to the Chaldean order, which is Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, and on, meaning it repeats. And so, here's an example. Aries has 3 decans. The first one is Mars in Aries at 0 to 9 degrees. That's the first decan. The second decan is Sun in Aries. That is 10 to 19 degrees. And the last decan, Venus, is its ruler, and that's Venus in Aries, 20 to 29 degrees. And so, the Golden Dawn assigned and numbered minor arcana cards 2 through 10 to these 36 decans, with aces representing the pure element and court cards representing both modal and elemental combinations. Okay? So, that's the simple setup. Let's walk through the minor arcana, suits, decans, and planets. So let's break it all down. Each suit's elemental correspondence. So wands is fire, cups is water, swords, air, and pentacles, earth. And here are some of the numbered cards and their decan associations. So let's start with 2 of wands. And let me give you a few examples. So we're going to do examples. I'm not going to do a deep dive yet. I'm going to save that a little later. But let me give you some examples so you have an understanding. Because the whole point of these episodes is to give you an overview before I plunk you into the ocean of tarot and astrology. So, for example, 2 of wands would be Mars in Aries. Okay, and that would be domination, bold vision, initiating, prepping, for example. Whilst 3 of cups would be Mercury in Cancer, which is the first decan, and that would be abundance, emotional communication, celebration. And another example would be the 5 of Pentacles, which would be Mercury in Taurus, and that would be the second decan, and that is the worry about material security, communication breakdowns around resources and things of that nature. Now, how did we get there? Okay, well, we've got Mars, we've got the Sun, we've got Venus, and that is all for Aries. But Taurus, let's step into that 5 of Pentacles. And the 5 of Pentacles always will be a fixed sign. So 2, 3, and 4 are always cardinal. 5, 6, and 7, doesn't matter which suit it is, it's always fixed. 8, 9, and 10 are always mutable. So you'll note 5 of Pentacles, 5 of air. That definitely means Taurus energy. And let me, because I have looked this all up, and so I have the energy right here to peruse. So let's do that. Alrighty, where was I? I was talking about the suit of Pentacles. Okay, so when we're looking at the suit of Pentacles, the ace is going to be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. 2, 3, and 4 are always going to be cardinal energy, earth energy. So Pentacles is earth, and so you're looking for an earth sign. And so 2, 3, and 4 are, as I said, Capricorn energy. And it has its correspondence, which is, like I said, it's just really fascinating. And let me go back and look at my notes. Yes, so the 5 of Pentacles corresponds to Mercury. And the reason why is because we went around the zodiac, and you take each card and you move around the zodiac. So you start with Aries and go all the way to Taurus, and we end up in Capricorn. And 2, 3, and 4 Pentacles would be Jupiter, Mars, Sun in Capricorn. 5 is Mercury, because after the Sun, well, you got Mercury falling behind. And so 5 of Pentacles is Mercury, 6 of Pentacles is the Moon, and Saturn, the 7 of Pentacles is Saturn, and it's all in Taurus. And so that's how it works, to just give you an example of how that would look. And so 5s in the suit, the minor arcana, always are about change and disruption. Whereas 1 is, it's a powerful, confident start. 2 is cooperation and collaboration. 3 is, community building, wholeness, holistic. 4s is foundations. 5s is disruption and exploration. 6 is nurturing, peacemaking energy. 7s are usually about strife. So 5 is disruption, 7 is going to be strife, 6 is always going to be something nurturing and maintaining. 8 is usually going to be, it's going to have energy, it's doing energy, it's mastery energy, it's building energy. I wouldn't say mastery, it's that you, after enlightenment happens, you chop wood, carry water kind of energy. 9 is moving to completion, and 10 is the beginning in the end, and the end in the beginning. And so that's why we have 5 of Pentacles, Mercury in Taurus, worry, because Mercury is the mind, and 5s are about disruption. And if we're talking about material things, oh, by the way, stepping back just a bit, the 5 of Pentacles depicts a church and 2 people, one disabled, and in tattered clothing. It's cold outside. They look as if they're down on their luck and in need of assistance. And the implication in the card is that they only have to look toward that church and its warmth with its stained glass windows for assistance and help. And this could also, because Mercury is the card here, it can also be about communication breakdown when it comes to resources, meaning that this could have happened, meaning the figures on the card, it could have happened because of a misunderstanding. Okay, just to give an example. So, planetary rulers can add flavor to the sign's expression within the suit and its element. So, Mercury in Taurus, earthly communication, meaning grounded, pragmatic, methodical. And it'll manifest differently than, say, Mercury in Gemini, which is airy communication, thoughts, opinions, ideas, for example. And so the emphasis in this system allows us, the readers, to pinpoint specific timing and nuance when interpreting spreads. Okay, so spreads are basically a way of organizing the tarot information in a flexible and fluid structure, meaning a spread, to answer a question or to get a more complete understanding of something. Now, let's try a short practical application, reading with astrological timing. So, correspondences in readings go like this. Usually a client will ask about timing. The cards can indicate not just a when, but sometimes under what cosmic conditions. So here's a practical example. Let's say someone draws a Four of Wands, and that would correspond to Venus in Aries. That would be the third decan, you might recall, of the suit of Wands, 2, 3, and 4. And so it could be said this. This manifests when Aries energy softens into relationship and beauty. And that's late Aries season when Venus transits Aries. You see? And you can do that with pretty much any card. So let's say, looking back at our Taurus grouping in our Three of Water, so Three of Cups, water. Let's see if we can do it. So let's say someone drew the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups corresponds to Mercury in Cancer. That'd be the first decan. And so this energy would be Cancerian energy that softens into more intuitive communication, meaning Mercury in Cancer is someone who reasons with their emotions. Everybody reasons with their emotions to a certain degree, but someone with Mercury in a water sign, in particular Cancer, which is moon-oriented and affiliated, would be more cyclical in their energy, more in their heart energy. So when Cancerian energy, we have more of a watery way of communicating when it softens into that. And that would be early Cancer season when Mercury will be going into Cancer because it will be following the sun or getting there before the sun. But it'll be following the sun into Cancer, provided that Mercury was not in retrograde in this particular example, which it doesn't have to be, but, just to give you an example. So, to be clear, second example, you could see the Three of Cups as Mercury in Cancer, first decan energy, and that energy would be most prevalent during early Cancer season, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere is what I'm talking about, and when Mercury would enter into Cancer. So if you're talking about relationships or emotional intelligence or decisions and choices that require us to check in with our guts, the best time to do that would be early Cancer season, which would be late June, thereabouts, the 22nd, thereabouts, and about thereabouts until about early July. So I'd say from the 22nd to about 30th, thereabouts, and that would be about the first decan of Cancer. And so any astro magic, that means you could take the Three of Cups card at that time, put it on an altar or on a desk, and use it as an anchor to remind yourself of your intention, to communicate with heart, to use your gut when making decisions, to not just use your mind, it's to consider what your gut might think about this. And also, since this is a moon-ruled sign, that's about cycles. So what cycle are you in when it comes to all of these things? What are your considerations when it comes to belonging and your soul family? Those kind of things are all very Cancerian energy. It's also a time to connect with one's divine feminine or divine feminine energy type. If you are engaging in a divine feminine practice, this would be the ideal time to do that. Now, let me give you another example. Five of Pentacles corresponds to Mercury in Taurus. That would be the second decan. It's about financial security, worrying about it, communication breakdowns around resources. Resources could be money, but could also be talents, experiences, skills that we have gotten through slow, deliberate practice. Okay? And so let me do this one too to hammer this point in. So someone has drawn the Five of Pentacles. That is Mercury in Taurus. That is the second decan. And it is This energy can manifest when Taurus energy starts to move into, more of a earthly communication. And that would be mid-Taurus season, which would be the early part of May. So late April, early May would be second decan Taurus. And so that'd be a time to start to put the Five of Pentacle cards up there and consider, okay, 5 is about disruption. 5 is about change. What would I like to change? What do I need to disrupt? Taurus energy is slow and deliberate. It's not move fast energy. It is slow and deliberate. But this is very practical energy. Moves at its own rhythm. And so you put the Five of Pentacles on your desk and you ask questions about, what is going on with my resources? What is being disrupted? What could be disrupted? What do I want to disrupt? What is my plan for if disruption happens? Because this is about worrying. So if I'm worrying, it is time to come up with a solution. And so during late April, very late, like the 30th, 29th, 30th, all the way to about the May 5th, 6th, thereabouts, that's when we would look at this card and ponder it and ask ourselves the question. This is a time to say, hey, what are my resources? Do I have any concerns or worries about this? And what can I do to better support my resources and keep them strong and healthy, and so I can sustain this, so I don't have to worry as much, for example. Okay, so understanding decans can help us create our own correspondences. So once you grasp the logic, planet, sign, element, you can adapt and expand the system to fit your own practice. So a key point here when it comes to reading is planets transit. They change sign. And this, using tarot, you can drop that into transit. When a Mercury is transiting in Taurus, you can pull out the Five of Swords card, the Five of Pentacles card, and say, what are my concerns? What are my worries about my resources, about my money, about my body, about my health, etc., about my worth? And start to address those. Okay? And so this is a time to experiment, so you can track the cards yourself as well during specific transits, and you can note patterns and build your own astro tarot language. As a matter of fact, I'm going to encourage it. The reason why I'm going to encourage it is because I do not think it's a good idea to simply take someone's word for it. My experiences is, as a Ravenclaw, I have a tendency to like books and information, and that doesn't always lead to a more embodied or integrated experience. And as a Sagittarius, I have Sagittarius in my chart. One of my placements is in Sagittarius. And that being said, that needs to be embodied, integrated knowledge. That's how that Sagittarius energy works. Okay? So the reason why I'm saying that is because having the ability to track transits using the cards, you can note patterns, and you can build your own languages, which is what I suggest. I suggest everybody have their own language because, as I said in the previous podcast episode, generating your own language allows you to retain it better, allows you to embody it better, integrate it better, and it makes sense. If it makes sense, you'll use it more and continue to add to it, which will make it more embodied, more integrated, and will make it less of a cognitive experience and more of an embodied, integrated, I'm living it experience. Okay? So that's how you make the zodiac live. Now, let's step into, the key takeaway. So, here's the thing. The Minor arcana decan system creates a detailed astrological calendar within the tarot. Okay, so it allows for more precise timing and more nuanced interpretation, and provides the foundation for creating your own correspondences. Okay, because that's the whole point. If you're here listening to this, you want to learn, you're curious and inquisitive, but you're not going to take someone else's word for it. Why should you? And so this is an opportunity to start experiencing astrology in a simple way on your own, where you can track it yourself and get your own notes, your own ideas, your own feelings, how your body feels, the symbols you're noticing, and it makes it yours. Because if you make it yours, it'll make sense to you, because it will be coming from a place of lived experience rather than theoretical yakking, which doesn't always make sense and doesn't always embody and integrate well. Okay? And so, here's an idea. Pull a 3-card spread. I would suggest instead of 3 cards, stay with 1 card and look up the cards' decan association and reflect on how the planet and zodiacal energies tell a story together. Now, the point here isn't to be right. The point isn't, look, we're not looking for correctness. We're looking for a click within you that says, yes, that makes sense to me. Yes, that feels right to me. That's what we're looking for here. Okay? And the next phase of the podcast, we're going to evolve the structure for more of a modern era. That's the plan. So moving on, what we're going to do instead, we're going to do deep dives into the arcana so that it's better understood. Because if you're going to use the cards, and you are, for transits and all that sort of thing to better time to integrate astrology into your life, you need to understand how to do that via astrology and the cards. And so I'm here to help you do that. And I want to thank you very much for listening to this foundational series. And I look forward to moving forth with even more of this information. I thank you very much for listening. And you can find me and the podcast on Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Links in the show notes if you'd like to leave a donation. The tip jar is also linked in the show notes. There is a Stargazer, the Daily Stargazer newsletter, free and paid, and you can find that link also in the show notes. I appreciate you all, Stargazers. Until next time, peace and astro magic.